Hi, Nicholas. How was your day?
Good. But why are you here? Mom didn't tell you you're going to pick me up.
It's a surprise visit, buddy. How would you like to go get some?
Excuse me, Mr. Wright. We have some questions for you. Put your hands behind your...
Mr. Wright, put your hands behind your head. You are under arrest for attempted child abduction. You have the right to remain silent. If you choose to give up that right, anything you say will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to speak to an attorney and to have an attorney present during any questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be provided for you. Do you understand your rights?
Yes. Understand my rights. I just wanted to spend time with my son.
It's okay, young man. It's okay.
Mr. Wright, I'm going to need your personal information. What is your full name?
Michael Frederick Wright.
What's your address?
1640 Springhurst Avenue.
And your date of birth?
June 12th, 1960.
I'm going to need to take you to another room to take your fingerprints and photograph. After that, you will be permitted to make as many phone calls as you wish in order to acquire a defense attorney if you wish. We would like to begin questioning as soon as possible. Well, Mr. Wright, your attorney is on his way. You are charged with attempted child abduction of Nicholas Wright, and your court date has been set for April 25th.
Oh, Nicholas, where were you? I was so worried. How are you feeling?
Miss Carden, I am afraid that you and your son are going to have to come down to the station for questioning regarding Michael Wright's charge of attempted child abduction.
Mommy, what's going to happen to Daddy?
Miss Miller, can you tell me exactly what you saw?
I saw Michael talking to Nicholas very aggressively, and I knew right away something wasn't right. As Nicholas's teacher, I had previously told that Nicholas doesn't live with his father anymore, and that Nicholas is not permitted to leave school with his father. Michael was visibly very upset when Nicholas refused to come with him, and that's when he lost his temper. I saw him trying to drag Nicholas away by pulling him by his arm. Then Nicholas kicked him to get away. That's when Michael hit the bus shelter and shattered the glass.
Somebody's girlfriend's talking to me, but it's alright, she's saying that he's not gonna slap me or try to attack me. He's not the jealous type, and I only need to get half an excuse and I'm away. But when there's no excuses, that's much easier to say. I've been before, and all these capers make us too good for her to ignore. So she's talking.
14 days ago, Michael Wright, an active member of society, a proud father and a recent divorcee, fell onto the wrong side of the tracks after attempting to kidnap his son Nicholas Wright in violation of his custody order with Mary Carden. For his trial to happen, 80 random people received notices in the mail to appear before the court on April 17, 2014 for jury duty. Some were automatically excused, those who I have here today. One of the exempt was Maria Rodriguez, a practicing doctor from Mexico who doesn't speak English.
Hola.
Another is Petra Anderson, a police officer from Orleans, who is Miss Carden's sister and has already formed an opinion about the case.
I've disliked Michael since the beginning of their relationship. I always knew he was bad news.
And Judith Morrison, who is recently a divorcee herself and is facing personal hardships.
I'm trying to work 2 jobs and raise 3 young children, all on my own.
For the remaining potential jurors, each of their names were written on cards and picked randomly by the court clerk as though from a lottery, and questioned intensely by both the Crown Attorney and the defense attorney, both of whom want the most favorable jury. Have you ever been separated or divorced?
No.
Do you have kids?
Yes.
Do you have custody of your kids?
Yes.
How old? What is the gender?
8 and female.
Do you often get in fights or disagreements with your child?
Nothing past a normal argument or two.
Do you have parents or other relatives who rely on you?
Yes.
You currently work.
I'm the manager of chapters.
Okay, and what level of education have you received?
High school.
Are you currently married?
Yes.
How old are you?
36.
And how many children do you have?
2.
Thank you.
After the jury impanelment process, 12 jurors were chosen who are impartial, unbiased, and open-minded, so that they will regard only the evidence presented in this case.
Arden has full custody of her son Nicholas Wright, but it seems that did not sit well with her ex-husband Michael Wright. On April 14, 2014, Michael attempted to take his son from his bus stop, but before he could do this, local authorities arrived and arrested him. A preliminary trial date of April 25, 2014 was set very shortly after. Entering the courtroom that morning, there was a tension in the air as the divorced couple and their lawyers battled it out in front of both judge and jury. Michael Wright chose to be tried by both judge and jury because he believed he could win over members of the jury who were parents or divorcees.
Thank you, bailiff. Proceed. May we please have the Crown present their evidence?
Imagine, if you will, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that your child, and if you are not a parent, a young member of your family was abducted from you. How would that make you feel? Obviously hurt, scared, and shocked, but there's more here.
Objection! Your Honor, this counselor is attempting to sway the jury.
Stand, Miss Wade. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. What if the person abducting your child was your spouse? Do you already sense the feeling of betrayal there? If yes, then you know exactly how my client felt when her son was abducted from her. On April 14th of this year, Michael Wright attempted to abduct his son from the bus stop in front of his school. We will now look at the evidence to prove his guilt. Firstly, we will look at the photographs of Nicholas's arm taken by a police officer after Mr. Wright's arrest. As you can see, his arm is quite bruised and red from his father's constraints. The evidence is plain and simple. The look on my client's face when her son was returned to her should be all you need. The fact she was worried sick in the first place tells you exactly why Michael Wright is guilty. May we please call Amelia Miller to the stand. Miss Miller, you are Nicholas's second grade teacher, am I correct?
Yes.
Thank you, Miss Miller. Next, I would like to call my client, Mary Carden, to the stand. Miss Carden, could you please tell us how Nicholas behaved when he was returned from the police to your home the evening of the 14th?
He was petrified. He didn't even want to hug me. I think he feels like it was his fault.
Yes, and what have been the repercussions for you both from this?
Nicholas has nightmares constantly. He has to come to sleep in my bed often because he just doesn't feel safe. I now pick him up as soon as school is over. I just can't trust that something won't happen to him again.
Thank you, Miss Carden. May we please call Michael Wright to the stand? Mr. Wright, how long have you and my client been divorced?
2 years.
And for how much of this time has your ex-wife had full custody of your son, Nicholas?
About 14 months.
What happened in the 10 months prior to that for the custody to no longer be shared?
I lost my job and I couldn't pay alimony anymore, so Mary and her lawyer decided it would be better if Nicholas stayed with her.
So is it true then that on April 14th of this year, you attempted to take your son from his bus stop outside of school property?
I just wanted to see my son. I didn't want to cause any harm.
Thank you. So in summation, I believe I have given you all a strong reason to believe that Michael Wright is guilty. Along with the photographic evidence I provided earlier, Miss Miller saw Mr. Wright commit this crime. It has clearly impacted the family very negatively,
But I rest my case. Thank you. That will be all, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my client does not deny that he committed this crime, but ask yourselves this. Isn't the crime that this loving father couldn't see his son?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevancy?
That's enough, Miss Kingston. Continue, Miss Wade. Now I'd like to call my witness, psychologist Dr. Adam Bell, to the stand. From my understanding, you've been talking to and analyzing my client for the last month or so?
Yes, that is correct.
What have you found regarding his stability?
He shows many signs of remorse and regret. He recognizes that what he did was wrong, but he was in a state of desperation and exhaustion when he attempted to take Nicholas.
Do you think there's cause for concern that he may do this again?
No, not at all. He understands the repercussions of his actions and sees that it was not a way to get what he wanted. I think with further counseling, he will be able to be a great father for his son.
Thank you. In closing, as you have just heard from a professional, Michael Wright is no danger to society. He is an honest man who made a mistake. A child may have his life completely altered by lack of father figure, so please do keep this in mind. That will be all. After several days of heated debate beginning on April 25th, 2014, the judge has advised the jury of key facts and witnesses' testimonies in this case. Today, behind closed doors, the jury deliberates about the fate of the accused, Michael Wright. This deliberation isn't expected to take longer than the day before the jury decides a verdict, so they have not been sequestered. We'll be back tonight with more.
When Michael showed up to get Nicholas from school, it was very out of the ordinary.
Do we have a copy of the custody order between Michael and his wife?
Yes. It says here that Mary Carden had full custody of their son, Nicholas.
And Michael signed the custody order?
Yes, on October 3rd, 2013. So he's fully aware of his limitations and broke them anyway. See, right here.
Michael just wanted to see his son. He hasn't been allowed to do that since last October. I'm not saying he's guilty. I just think we should be sympathetic with him.
After several hours, it seems as though the jury has come to a unanimous conclusion. The police department has chosen to reveal to us that Michael Wright has been convicted by the jury of attempted child abduction. The guilty act in this case is that Michael attempted to take unlawful charge of his son, who was under 14, against the custody agreements. The guilty mind in this case is that Michael knew of the custody agreement, but intended to take the child away. During all this time, Michael has remained in custody to keep him away from his son, and will do so until his sentencing hearing. As we await the sentencing from the judge, we have exclusive interviews with the key players in deciding Michael's sentence. The following victim impact statement and psychologist statement will either be aggravating or mitigating factors in Michael's sentence.
Isn't a threat to society. He did not have malicious intent and acted only out of love for his son. Although he seems shaken up, not only by being arrested for kidnapping his son, but also not being able to see Nicholas for a long time. He has no underlying signs of mental illness. I believe he should go to therapy and be able to control his emotions of sadness and anger and express them in a healthy way. I believe he has a strong chance of full rehabilitation and will be able to continue to be a contributing member of society.
It wakes me up at night and I keep getting scared because there's keep being flashbacks. I get nightmares now because I think he's going to get me and take me away from my house. But now I'm really scared of him because he tried to steal me away from my mom. It really hurts a lot and it still hurts a bit.
Michael Frederick Wright, you have been found guilty on your charge of one count of Section 282 of the Criminal Code of Canada, abduction and contravention of custody order. This is an indictable offense liable to imprisonment up to 10 years. To encourage you to take responsibility for harm done to the victim and community, and to make amends for the harm done to the family, I sentence you to 18 months in jail and 1 year probation. To enable your rehabilitation, your probation order requires you to attend counseling at least once a week and to no longer see Nicholas or Mary. Case dismissed.
Up rolls a riot van and sparks excitement in the boys. But the policemen look annoyed. Perhaps these are ones they should avoid. Got a chase last night from men with truncheons dressed in hats. They didn't do that much wrong, still ran away though for the laugh, just for the laugh. And please just stop talking, 'cause they